Hey, good evening to y'all. How y'all out there? Hey, I wanted to discuss something with you guys about a video that I saw on YouTube. They were talking about the story of Job, and they started it out with how Satan and his angels, the angels, that followed him, how they warred with God's angels up there in heaven, how they were cast out here, cast to earth to never return to heaven again. And the story, they started talking about Job. And when they started talking about how Satan returned back to heaven and he pretty much challenged God to lay hands or, get permission to lay hands on Job. So I was sitting there and I was like, okay, wait a minute. If he was cast out of heaven, to not given the opportunity to return, how is it that he went back and was able to challenge God about one of his children here? And it brought me to this verse that I remember. I don't know why I thought about it, but the verse says that thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God. And so I'm like, okay, so not only was Satan cast out, he returned, he challenged God, and he tempted God. So who is Satan that God has to prove a point to? And as I listened to that story, it just started to not make sense to me. Each time God proved to him that Job wouldn't fall and curse him or do whatever it is that Satan thought that he was going to do, it was like a back and forth. God doesn't do that. He doesn't go back and forth with anybody. Like I say, who is Satan that he had to prove a point to? Satan ain't nobody. And for them to paint God as someone who allowed Satan to tempt him just so that he could prove a fact to, prove a point to him, that look, this is a sovereign, powerful God. He doesn't need to make a point to anybody, not even Satan. So one of you pastors, because I know one of y'all will be seeing this, I need you to explain to me, why is this story even in the Bible? Why are they even telling people about this, knowing that Satan was cast here on earth to never return back to heaven? You see, this story has been instilled generation after generation. It's been taught generation after generation. So that's all we know. We believe what has been repeatedly instilled in us. And I have noticed that whenever something has constantly, an agenda has constantly been pushed on you, there's something to it. There's something about that agenda that's just not right. Just like there's something about this story that's just not right. This story doesn't sit well with me. These stories in this Bible, and y'all know it, they have admitted to it that they've been tainted. Who's going to sit there over and over again someone with power, someone who's sovereign, who's going to sit there and prove to an evil entity that what they say will stand? All it took was just one time. God didn't have to prove to him over and over again that this man was not going to curse him or turn his back against him. And make it make sense to me, one of you pastors. You know, when I was a child, my mind was impressionable. You could have told me anything. And as long as you kept telling it, feeding it to me, as I get older, I'm going to believe it. But at some point in my life, and in y'all's life, you're going to start questioning things. And sometimes it may be God that's pushing you, letting you know that that doesn't sound right. A lot of people are trapped in religion. They don't go and seek God for themselves. Instead, they just listen to what's been pushed on them all their lives. So God has given us a brain to think. God has given us eyes to see, to discern. God has given us ears to hear. Listen to what they're telling you. Listen to the context clues. If something doesn't sound right, then there's something wrong with it. And you need to question it. And it bothers me because I used to hear people tell me and other people this when I used to question things. You shouldn't question the word of God. Why shouldn't I? He gave me 5 senses. I can question. You can question. We all can question. They've had us under this spell for so long. But like I say, at some point, that veil is going to be removed. A lot of you need to remove that veil. Stop believing everything that they tell y'all. Don't fall for everything that they tell you. And he also tells us to seek his kingdom, which is why you shouldn't be listening to everything that they tell you. You need to be going within. You need to be seeking his kingdom within and stop relying on other people to feed you what it is that you're needing to, go and go out there and find for yourself. So one of you pastors, please explain that to me about how Satan was cast out here on earth to return back to heaven when he was, not to return. Challenge God and tempt him. So, yeah, please, I want to hear your comments. But I'm going to end it here. And guys, y'all take care and I love y'all.